She muttered a curse. She cursed him, saying, "Prince Adekunle, you must learn humility. By the day, you shall be a child, and by night you shall be a beast. You shall wander around until you learn humility." Once upon a time in the faraway kingdom of Dakari, lived a rude and arrogant prince named Prince Adekunle. Prince Adekunle was a young and handsome prince. All the maidens of Dakari kingdom were attracted to him and wished to be his wife because of his looks. Prince Adekunle, on the other hand, who was a proud, rude and arrogant prince. He considered himself above others because he was rich, handsome, and to crown it all, a prince. He saw himself as a god, whom the villagers should worship. He treated everyone with disdain. He treated them as though they were unworthy to be his servants. Prince Adekunle was the only child of his parents, the king and queen. The king and queen had doted on him since his birth. They gave him everything he ever wanted. They made sure he lacked nothing, and so had bred an arrogant prince. The king and queen, despite noticing their son's character, did nothing to correct his ways. Prince Adekunle, despite his age, was not interested in marriage. His major and only reason was he believed that no one matched his beauty, and so would only marry the woman who was the most beautiful in the kingdom. His parents were getting old and in need of a grandchild, and so demanded Prince Adekunle finds himself a bride to marry. Adekunle with pride told his parents, "Fine, fine, I will get married to please you both. But on one condition. The maiden whom I marry must be the most beautiful maiden in all the kingdoms. Far and wide, as a handsome prince, whom I am, must have a maiden not less than my standard." The king and queen smiled and told the town crier to announce and spread the news, far and wide, of the prince's decision to get married, and the qualification he had listed. The town crier did as told, and soon word spread out far and wide. Most of the maidens from different kingdoms were excited at this news. They knew of the prince's arrogance and rudeness, yet wanted to get married to him because of his handsomeness, fame and riches. The whole village far and near were busy as maidens bought different accessories for adoring themselves. Most of the maidens were busy with their beauty care, while the rest were either not interested because of Prince Adekunle's character or were not enough to afford beauty treatments. The day for the bride's selection was getting near, and Prince Adekunle decided to go for a stroll. As he walked around the village with an entourage of guards behind him, he noticed the maidens adorning themselves. Prince Adekunle laughed loudly, as all attention turned to him. "What are you all doing? Do you think any of you here is a match for me? Ha ha, so sorry to break it to you, pitiful maidens, but you are not up to my standards." Prince Adekunle mocked and laughed, as most maidens bowed their heads and tears flowed from their eyes. They had thought that marrying a prince like Adekunle was going to change them and make them rich, but had forgotten that Prince Adekunle's tongue was sharper than his sword. Prince Adekunle's laughter increased but was interrupted by the voice of a blind beggar nearby. "Please help me, somebody please. Nothing is too small and nothing is too big. Please help this poor, blind old woman. Who dares speak?" Prince Adekunle barked, as he walked towards the old woman. "Do you know who I am? I see you can't see, so I would do you the favor of introducing myself. I am the one and only great prince of Dakari kingdom. And no one dares speak when I am there. So who on earth do you think you are? You filthy beggar, to speak when Adekunle the Great was laughing. I don't give grace to people. But today I'm in a good mood, so I would let this one slide just this once." Prince Adekunle said as he walked away. The old woman smiled and said, "When I first heard of your cruelty, I believed it not. But now I have experienced it firsthand." Prince Adekunle "We are just getting started." Soon it was the day for the bride selection, and Prince Adekunle sat down with the king and queen. In a regal and domineering spirit, Maidens from far and wide presented themselves. Even princesses came in with their best attires. When they were done, the prince stood up with an unsatisfied look on his face. "What is this? Is this what you all call beauty? I see no one worthy of me. And I call this gathering to a close." Everyone was shocked at the prince's words. Even the king and queen were surprised that he was not interested in any of the medians. But as the prince was about to take his leave, a beautiful stunning woman came in. She was so beautiful that Prince Adekunle unconsciously opened his mouth to stare at the beauty before him. "This is and must be my bride. Every one of you is invited for our wedding ceremony tomorrow," Prince Adekunle said. Everyone was stunned at the maiden's beauty but was shocked at the prince's conclusion. Without even knowing the background of this maiden, Prince Adekunle was so joyous that a king and queen didn't bother questioning him. Later that night, when Prince Adekunle was alone with a mysterious maiden, he said, "Since the day I was born, I have never seen a maiden as beautiful as you." As Prince Adekunle was speaking, something strange happened. The once stunning maiden turned into the old blind beggar he had insulted days ago. "Who, what are you?" the beggar replied in a relaxed voice. "When I first heard of your arrogance, I didn't believe, and so after experiencing firsthand, I have made up my mind to teach you a lesson." After saying this, she muttered a curse. She cursed him, saying, "Prince Adekunle, you must learn humility. By the day you shall be a child, and by night you shall be a beast. You shall wander around until you learn humility." With that, she left the prince in a bewildered state. Prince Adekunle was scared at first, but then it was night and he didn't transform into a beast, and so pushed the thought aside as he went to sleep. The next morning, Prince Adekunle woke up feeling strange. As usual, the maids would come in to get him prepared, but instead they shouted at him, asking him what he was doing in the prince's room. Prince Adekunle was shocked at the maid's statement, but he was more surprised when the maid pulled him out of the room by the ear. It was at this point that the prince realized his appearance. He was indeed looking like a child. That was when he remembered the old woman's curse. Immediately, he ran out of the palace looking for the old woman. He ran into the streets and marketplaces, but still he didn't find her. After a futile day of searching for the old woman, Prince Adekunle sighed frustratedly. He soon realized he was hungry and returned to the palace, but the guards refused to let him in. Knowing that any further attempts will be futile, Prince Adekunle went back to the market. He took a fruit from a fruit seller's shop and started eating hungry. "Hey, you've got to pay for that. Do you know who I am?" Prince Adekunle asked, forgetting about this transformation. "Hey, who do you think you are? When I am done with you, you will understand that stealing is bad." Immediately, the man raised his hand to beat Prince Adekunle. But someone stopped him. "Stop, I will pay for him," a lady who happened to be Bisola said. Bisola was one of the maidens Prince Adekunle had mocked days ago. She paid for the fruit and took Prince Adekunle away. Prince Adekunle followed her quietly, lost in thought. Soon it was getting dark and Prince Adekunle remembered the woman's words, "By night you shall turn into a beast." With that thought in mind, Prince Adekunle decided to leave, but Bisola didn't let him. She told him it was too late to go out on his own. In the end, Prince Adekunle had no other option than to stay. At night he started noticing changes in his body, and soon he turned into a beast. He was scared of what he could do to Bisola in this form and tried running away. When he saw Bisola staring at him, he thought he would scream and run, but instead she said, "Little boy, is that you? Are you okay?" Prince Adekunle was shocked at her reaction, and the following morning when he transformed back to his human child form, he told her everything, leaving the parts of him being Prince Adekunle. After hearing his story, Bisola made up her mind to help him. For weeks, Prince Adekunle stayed with Bisola. He learned a lot from her that he didn't even notice his change in character. Meanwhile, the palace was in confusion. as no one knew where Prince Adekunle went to. They have been searching for him, yet the search seemed futile as he left without a trace. One day while Adekunle was returning with Bisola from the farm, they met an old woman, struggling to carry a very heavy basket. Adekunle immediately rushed to help the woman. He helped her carry her basket, till they got to her house. Bisola and the old woman smiled. The old woman said, "Prince Adekunle, you have learnt humility, and so I would break the curse." Almost immediately, Prince Adekunle returned to his normal self. Bisola was shocked that the person whom she had been helping was Prince Adekunle. Prince Adekunle, on the other hand, was surprised that the old woman whom he had just helped was the beggar he had insulted days ago. He immediately apologized for his rude character and thanked her for breaking the curse. Later the prince returned to the palace and everyone was happy for his return. He told them all that had happened, and everyone in the palace was shocked to hear his story, and were glad the prince had returned. Prince Adekunle later asked the whole villagers to gather. After everyone had gathered, the prince apologized from least to greatest for all the wrongs he had done. Everyone was surprised at his sudden change and rejoiced, hoping that the prince remained the changed person. He was also. Prince Adekunle got married to Bisola, and together, the kingdom thrived in humility. The lessons to be learnt from this story is humility. One shouldn't consider him or herself above others, just because of their backgrounds. Everyone should be treated with love, kindness, respect and humility.